At least there isn't a recent example of Manchester United gazumping Manchester City to sign a 30-something Portuguese and it turning into an expensive farrago. The sporting manager, Ruben Amorim, had been heavily touted to join City next summer should Pep Guardiola decide to stand down, particularly after the club's director of football, Hugo Viana, was named as the successor to Txiki Begiristain at the Etihad Stadium. Amorim is no Cristiano Ronaldo. When Ronaldo rejoined United in 2021, his playing career was winding down, and he was a terrible fit for either the rapid counter-attacking favored by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or for the industrious pressing demanded by Ralf Rangnick. Managing to offload him relatively cleanly was probably Ten Hag's greatest achievement at Old Trafford. Amorim, by contrast, is a manager on the way up. The 39-year-old is arguably the brightest of the hugely promising generation of young Portuguese coaches and, as well as being linked with City, he was considered in the summer by Liverpool before they turned to Arne Slot. After leading Sporting to the title in 2020-21, ending a 19-year drought, Amorim won it again last season and his side have started this campaign with 9 wins in 9 games. It had been thought Amorim would stay till the end of the season to try to retain the title, something Sporting have not managed in 7 decades. Idealism has become an unfashionable trait among modern managers, and there is a clear streak of pragmatism to Amorim. He will sit in a low block when required, but his preference is to press aggressively. Which does raise the very obvious question of what on earth he is going to do with this United. Ten Hag, too, arrived with a reputation for pressing high, before being forced into a major rethink after his first 2 games brought defeats. The message was clear: you cannot press with Ronaldo, and you cannot play a high line with David De Gea. Even when those two had left, though, Ten Hag's side never pressed convincingly. Often individuals would go hunting the ball alone, and the United donut became notorious. Half the side pushed high in search of possession, and half sat deep, leaving a vast hole in between in which opponents could frolic. Casemiro and Christian Eriksen no longer have the legs to press. Kobbie Mainoo is only 18 and it's unreasonable to expect him to carry the tactical burden, while Manuel Ugarte has only just arrived and, so far, seems, understandably, befuddled by the chaos around him. Both at Braga and at Sporting, Amorim's preference has been for a 3-4-3, although he has interpreted it in 2 ways. The more common variant is to have 2 mobile deep-lying midfielders, most recently Morten Gilmand and Hidemasa Morita, sitting in front of the back 3, a shortcut to creating the 3-2 defensive trapezium so beloved of coaches looking to counter the counter, which places great emphasis on the wing-backs as an attacking threat. It was in that system that Pedro Porro, now at Tottenham, first really caught the eye. But while United have plenty of players who could operate either side of the centre-forward, attacking in the diagonal, and it's possible to imagine Marcus Rashford, Amad Diallo or Alejandro Garnacho thriving in that role, they have nobody who looks a natural wing-back. Nor, in that system, is there an obvious place for Bruno Fernandes. Were Amorim to get the job, that might force him in the short term to pursue his other alternative, a 3-4-3 in which the 4 is a diamond. At the base is a player who can step into the back line effectively to make a 4, flanked by 2 shuttlers with a Fernandes-style figure behind a central striker with 2 wingers. It's not unreasonable to point out that a diamond in midfield of, say, Casemiro, Mainoo, Ugarte and Fernandes doesn't look especially secure, but then there's probably no permutation of United midfielders at the moment that would make much sense. And that is the problem for whoever comes in. This is a squad that has been assembled expensively to no great effect. Which bits are meant to go together? What is the underlying philosophy? That's where the decision to extend Ten Hag's contract seems so costly. It's not just his salary or the payoff he has been granted, but the £200 million outlay on players this summer, presumably to suit whatever system Ten Hag thought he might be imposing. Ruben Amorim is pushing to leave Sporting with the Portuguese club now resigned to losing their highly regarded head coach to join Manchester United. A deal has not yet been fully agreed with United, but Amorim has made it clear to Sporting that he wants to leave and succeed Erik ten Hag at Old Trafford. Amorim does have a reputation for driving a hard bargain and can be demanding, with sources cautioning that talks have been held in the past with United without an agreement being reached. However, the €10 million, £8.3 million, compensation fee it will take to release Amorim from his contract is not thought to be a problem. A greater issue may be Amorim's personal financial demands and the makeup of his backroom staff, but it is hoped this will not prove to be insurmountable. The 39-year-old has emerged as United's first choice after a series of talks in recent weeks, with formal negotiations beginning yesterday with Sporting after Ten Hag's dismissal. The Lisbon club have a Portuguese Cup tie at home to Nacional this evening, after which Amorim will be asked about his future. It is possible he will be able to announce his departure following the quarter-final. Amorim, who speaks perfect English, is one of Europe's most sought-after young managers and has long been on United's radar. Last summer Amorim's release clause was €15 million, £12.5 million, but it has since been reduced per the terms of his contract. Amorim is a highly confident coach who has, previously, been wedded to a 3-4-3 formation, and it will be interesting to see if he sticks with that should he join United. Sources say he is unlikely to change. United have also been considering the former Borussia Dortmund coach Edin Terzic, who is out of work having left the German club in the summer despite leading them to the Champions League final. He too speaks perfect English and has been approached. Ten Hag was dismissed following a meeting with Chief Executive Omar Barreda and Sporting Director Dan Ashworth at the Carrington training ground on Monday morning. United will hire a head coach, under their new structure, rather than a manager, which was the title Ten Hag held and fiercely guarded in the summer. Ruud van Nistelrooy, who was appointed as one of Ten Hag's assistants in July, has been placed in temporary charge as interim head coach until a permanent replacement is found. The United players are set to train with Van Nistelrooy and assistant René Haake for the first time on Tuesday before facing Leicester City in the last 16 of the Carabao Cup at Old Trafford on Wednesday. Yet all his rapid success as a coach follows a successful 14-year career as a player, too, in which he won 14 caps for his native Portugal. Amorim, who hails from Lisbon, made his senior first-team debut in 2003 for Belenenses in the Portuguese First Division before signing for Benfica in the summer of 2008. It was at the Estádio da Luz where he spent the majority of his playing days, making 154 appearances across 6 seasons in which he fell in and out of favor with long-term boss Jorge Jesus, playing mainly in central midfield but also utilized at right-back. One such incident saw Amorim criticize Jesus' player selections and he refused to train with the substitutes following one match. As a result, he spent 18 months on loan at rivals Braga from January 2012 to the summer of 2013. Yet he returned to Benfica the following year and enjoyed his most trophy-laden season as a player, winning a domestic treble. However, he soon did his anterior cruciate ligament, and though he spent one season on loan at Al Wakrah in Qatar, he retired at the age of 32 in 2017, having not played in over a year. With the national team, Amorim made his debut at the 2010 World Cup and was also used at the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. Although some of the metrics improved this season, the results did not. United haven't won any of their Europa League games, and have played out draws against Twente, Porto, and Fenerbahce. In the Premier League, things have worsened, with United languishing in 14th spot after 9 match days. The lack of confidence and ruthlessness was clear to see on Sunday, as United blew a host of first-half chances before collapsing to a 2-1 defeat at a West Ham team that had only won twice in the league. The late concession of a wrongly given penalty sealed the defeat, but even if Ten Hag had escaped the London Stadium with a draw, the axe would still have fallen eventually. This was a tenure of diminishing returns, and a change had to be made. Perhaps the most surprising thing about Ten Hag's tenure at Old Trafford is that he failed to build on a largely impressive first campaign that saw him deliver a top-3 finish in the League Cup. This summer, after he got the ball-playing goalkeeper he wanted in Andre Onana and a highly rated young striker in Rasmus Højlund. Both players seemed to struggle to adjust, as Ten Hag increasingly developed the air of an angry supply teacher, ranting unconvincingly in press conferences and sounding ever more deluded. This was a far cry from the coach that gained respect for leading Ajax to the semi-finals of the 2019 Champions League, a run that included a fine win over Juventus and a total demolition of Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. 4 of the starting 11 that night ended up playing for Ten Hag at Old Trafford: Matthias de Ligt, Donny van de Beek, Noussair Mazraoui and Andre Onana, but the old magic proved impossible to recapture.